All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the third part of the show, we're going to talk about Malik Nabers and him now switching jersey numbers and the significance behind that. Because it has stirred up some controversy, and I wanted to give you my opinion on it. So, he was wearing 9 and, wore single digits all throughout college, but he switched his jersey number to now number 1. And now the significance of that was this jersey was retired. This was last worn by Ray Flaherty in 1935. And it was the first jersey number to ever be retired in professional football. Flaherty was an NFL champion with the Giants in 1934 and was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1976. Now, Nabers requested the number from Giants president and CEO John Mara, the owner, and he reached out to the family. John Mara reached out to the family, and he was granted permission to wear the jersey. Now, the Flaherty family initially had mixed feelings, particularly his granddaughter, but eventually they agreed to it. And they believe the number is a lucky number, might be lucky. So, Nabers will now be wearing that jersey. They saw it as an opportunity to honor Ray Flaherty's legacy. Once Nabers' career is over, the jersey number will be retired again by the Giants. So, here's my opinion on it. Now, initially, I'm not going to say I didn't think it was a big deal. I did think it was. Now, when I first saw the headline, I was like, that's interesting. Now, Ray Flaherty played a long time ago. Long before I was born, long before you were born, long before whoever's watching this, most likely before you were born, long before my parents were born. But when I think of a number being retired, that number is off limits. That number cannot be worn again. So when I see something like this, I sit back and go, well, does that mean any number is on the table? Can they do this for anybody? And if I was Malik Nabers and I'm looking for another number to wear, and I say, oh, what about this number? And they say, well, it's retired. I'd be like, okay, what else? What's available then? I wouldn't be like, well, can I wear it? But again, that's just me saying that. So I don't know what the exact conversation was behind closed doors, but it just, I don't know. It doesn't sit right with me. The biggest thing out of all of this, Malik Nabers has to be the guy. Because the Giants will look so silly if Malik Nabers goes out there and he is a total bust. Now, I don't think that's going to be the case. I think Malik Nabers, he looks like he's going to be a great player for this team for a long time. And if they can get a better quarterback in here, that's only going to add to that. Because I don't think Daniel Jones is going to be the guy. Now, again, hope I'm wrong. But the Giants really are banking on Malik Nabers being the guy. Because if he's not, and his career flames out with the Giants, that is going to look so bad. And it already does. They're already receiving some backlash. And there's people saying, like, They pressured the family. Like the family felt awkward, and they, I mean, again, they, felt like this is a way to pay tribute to Ray Flaherty. But yeah, it's an awkward position to be put in. And Malik Nabers, said like he's gonna, make sure that, you know, that he honors Ray Flaherty by wearing this jersey. He goes out there and he gives it his all each and every week. Something along the lines of that, which, you appreciate that. I'm not blaming Malik Nabers. He was great. Like, the Giants said, like, yeah, like, but we're gonna have to have a conversation with the family about the jersey. Now I don't know what would have happened if, they said no. Like, would that have upset Neighbors? Like, but what, and it's just like, why number one? But needless to say, he's going to be wearing number one. But yeah, it's strange. Now, I did watch the Michael Kay show and they talked about this, and that's kind of why I wanted to give my take, because it was an interesting discussion. And they were bringing up, well, what happens if a player comes to the Giants and they want to wear 56 or 10? Like, are fans going to be okay with that? Like, I think a lot of people, especially young fans, probably don't care just because Ray Flaherty played a long time ago. But yeah, like, if a player says, "Can I wear 10?" Like, for me, I'd be like, "No." Like, Eli is number 10. Like, no one is wearing that number ever again. And then for, like, my parents, 56 is Lawrence Taylor. Like, definitely no one is wearing that number. So it's just, it's strange. And a great example they brought up when I was watching the Michael Kay show is Aaron Rodgers. When Aaron Rodgers, sorry, I don't know what that was. I just stuttered, but Aaron Rodgers first came to the Jets. Now, what do we know Aaron Rodgers for? Number 12. Joe Namath wore number 12 for the Jets and has won their only Super Bowl. And the only way that Aaron Rodgers was going to get number 12 is if, they gave him permission. But you know what? He said, I'm not going to do that. Number 12 is for Joe. I'm going to wear 8, which is the number he wore when he played in college. Aaron Rodgers made the right decision, in my opinion. That's how you're supposed to do it, in my opinion. And again, I don't want to, like, bash Malik Nabers because, again, the Giants gave him permission. Like, the Giants could have said no, but they didn't. But I think that is the proper way to go about it. If a number is retired, you leave it alone. Now, at some point, you're going to run out of numbers. Like, look at the Yankees. 1 through 10, all retired. Like, at some point, they could keep retiring numbers, but you're going to run out of numbers. Like, what are you going to start using, letters? Or are you going to have to recycle? Now, I don't think we're ever going to get to that point, but still, like, what if, like, in baseball, like, someone asked her, well, they brought up an example of, someone wanting Babe Ruth's number, a player wanting Babe Ruth's number, and the Yankees were like, no, but the player was like, well, Babe Ruth's not using it. Like, how disrespectful is that? It's interesting. And the other thing too is, like, none of this would be happening if the NFL didn't change the rule of, what number jersey certain players can wear. Like, now you're seeing, like, Sky Moore of the Chiefs is a wide receiver. He's wearing number 24. Like, this would not be happening if the NFL didn't, change the rules of how, what jersey numbers you can wear. So, yeah, it's an interesting conversation to have. Because, like, in a way, like, I do see, like, Nabers wearing that number, like, yeah, you are paying tribute to Ray Flaherty. But also, like, I think that's going to put pressure on you to go out there and play well, because if you don't play well, you're disrespecting the jersey that you're wearing. People are going to say that. You know, like, and the Giants got to hope that Nabers is the guy. And I think he is, but it's just, again, I would feel awkward. I'd be like, yeah, I don't know. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to wear that jersey. So we'll see how that goes. But I know John Mara is not. John Mara is receiving criticism for it, and part of me thinks, because they lost Saquon Barkley, John Mara is like trying to, like, because Malik Nabers is going to bring in fans. Like, fans are coming to the game to see Malik Nabers now. Like, Nabers is taking over for Saquon Barkley as, like, I guess the mascot of the Giants. Because, great college career. He was their first pick. And John Mara wants to make sure that Malik Nabers is happy and doesn't want to, cause any kind of rift. So I think this is me personally. I don't know if that's definite, but I could definitely see that they don't want to upset Nabers, and he wants to make sure that Nabers is happy, and he wants to be a Giant for life. And whatever he wants, the Giants are gonna give him that. That's just my opinion, but I could be wrong. Again, I have no proof of that, but that could definitely be a possibility. But yeah, let me know what you guys think, though. It's an interesting conversation. But yeah, if a number is retired, it's retired. You can't use it. But that's just my opinion. So we're going to take our next break. When we come back, we'll talk about Tom Brady. We'll talk about some of the restrictions that he's going to have if he does end up becoming a part-time owner of the Raiders. So with that being said, stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.